Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Donna Alpert, and I'd like to welcome you to the third annual concert of the Encore Chamber Ensemble. We are beginner and intermediate players of violin, viola, cello, and bass. Some of us played many years ago in school, and we're looking to recapture the fun of playing together. Others, like myself, took up a string instrument for the very first time late in life, and after playing in one room, alone, at home, wanted the stakes to be higher. They wanted to take this little lab-grown thing out into the world. So they summoned their courage and, hearts pounding, joined this orchestra. In his book, Beginners, Tom Vanderbilt writes about the joy and transformative power of lifelong learning. And he examines why so many of us stop learning new skills as adults. Are we afraid to be bad at something? Have we forgotten the sheer pleasure of starting from the ground up? George Bernard Shaw said, "We progress in all things by making a fool of ourselves." Enter the Adult Starters Orchestra. It's for anyone who didn't know what they were doing, but did it anyway. It's a catalog of errors, a celebration of awkwardness, an exhilarating journey of the novice. It's about small acts of reinvention at any age, and it can make life seem magical. Encore is open to all adult string players. We accept new members year-round, and there are no auditions. Our website with all information is listed in your programs. Tonight we are presenting an all-classical music program with a little something different as our finale. I'd like to say a big thank you to all the family and friends here who support our musicians. You know how hard each one works. You know how hard they work to learn the music. I'd also like to thank our conductor, Judith Steinley. Even when we players seem to be heading into the rocks, we have no better captain. I'd also like to thank our piano accompanist, Tavi, who joined us this season. Most of all, I'd like to thank the members. I'm gonna cry. I'd like to thank the members of Encore, whose adventurous spirit and commitment to this ensemble make every Tuesday so much fun. Every week at rehearsal, I watch them troop in, tired from their workday, and then 2 hours later, float out the door, happy, having been energized by the transformative power of collective music making. It's always a thrill to witness. And finally, I'd like to thank my husband, Marco, who is Encore's substitute conductor, backup bass player, website designer, tech wizard, and my steadfast cheerleader. Without his unfailing support and assistance, I could never keep Encore going. Now I invite you to sit back and enjoy our concert.
I'll just get down here. I would like to echo what Donna just said about support from family and friends. Without you guys, this wouldn't be nearly as much fun. It really wouldn't. So thank you from me too. So tonight's concert begins with something a little unusual in that we are going to begin with a finale and we're going to end with an overture. Hey, this is us. So the first piece we're going to play is the last movement of a Haydn symphony. Franz Joseph Haydn wrote 106 symphonies. They were all terrific. This one is his 12th. It was written in 1763. A symphony is simply, it's either one or several separate little pieces called movements, and they're just grouped together the way the composer wanted them to be presented. And so this is the last movement of his 12th symphony. just hang on to this. Our next piece was written by Johann Pachelbel in 1680. We are very happy to be playing. It's really themes from his Canon in D. Thank you. Our next work is a transcription of a piano piece by Ludwig van Beethoven. It's a very late piece. It's a set of 11 bagatelles. Well, anyway, this is our version of it. Written in 1822. Sorry. Okay. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart wrote 41 symphonies. This one was written when he was about 16 years old. It's the 17th symphony, and this is the second movement from that symphony. okay? Oh, good. Okay, George Frederick Handel was actually Georg Friedrich Handel until he moved to England, changed his name, made a huge career for himself, largely writing oratorios. And an oratorio is basically an opera without all the costumes and the movement. They just stand there and they sing, but they tell a story as they sing. So this is from an oratorio called Solomon. And this is when the Queen of Sheba comes to Solomon's court. And she's got a huge retinue with her, camels carrying all kinds of valuables, spices and gold and everything. And so this is a big entrance. So this is the entrance for the arrival of the Queen of Sheba from the oratorio Solomon. a British composer, early part of the 20th century, and from the years 1914 to about 1918, he worked on a series of a tone poem series he called The Planets. And the planets were set such that each movement was about a planet and the mythological characters and activities associated with the planet's names. So, you know, Mercury was about Mercury, the god of, you know, messenger god and all that. Venus was about the goddess of love. Mars was the god of war. Well, we're doing Jupiter. We're doing the chorale section from the movement of Jupiter. Jupiter was the king of the gods, and he was, well, he was very grand. I'll put it that way. Anyway, this is the chorale section from that movement. Percy Grainger was an Australian-born composer who moved to the United States around the turn of the 20th century. he was a huge proponent of bringing British folk music, and it used folk music of the British Isles into classical repertoire. So he really liked British folk music. Anyway, he wrote a piece called Mock Morris. A Morris dance is an old medieval style dance tune. And so here's Grainger's version of a Morris dance. It's time for a very carefully orchestrated intermission. Okay, we have some home-based goodies in the back and waters. Please, have a good time. 15 minutes. Okay, so we're going to do another Mozart selection for you. Mozart wrote 41 symphonies. Only 2 of them were in minor keys. Don't know why. They were both in G minor. One was a very early one, and the second one was his 40th symphony. And so we're going to play part of that for you now. Everybody put your glasses on. was he was a English-French composer who had a huge influence, actually, on the minimalist movement that started in the early 20th century. He was very influential to Ravel and Debussy and all for, let's stop with the super opulent late 19th century stuff and cut it down to the bare bones. And so this is one of his piano works again that is made for strings, made over for strings. This is, okay. This is, yeah, if you could do clever things to your cell phones, if possible. Anyway, this is a Gymnopédie by Satie. Telemann was a German composer who was a contemporary of both Bach and Handel. He actually was born before and lived after both of them did in the 18th century. This is a sort of a middling piece of his middle era piece. It was originally just a trio, and so this is the more full orchestra version of a little sinfonia, again, or a symphony, single movement symphony. Hope you enjoy this. Saint-Saëns was a 19th century French composer who had a lot of professional disagreements with his peers. And at one point he just said, you know what, might as well be playing with a whole bunch of animals. So he ended up writing a little piece, 14 movements, that he called the Carnival of the Animals, originally written for 2 pianos and a little chamber orchestra. And, gee, I should have brought them. In the 1940s, there was a well-known comic poet, Ogden Nash, who wrote a lot of comic verses, and he set verses to every one of the animal movements. For instance, the lion is the king of beasts and husband of the lioness. Gazelles and other things he eats address him as your highness. You get the idea. They're very good. Anyway, we are playing a few selections from this work. You will hear melodies from the Swad, then you will hear the lion, and you will hear the elephant, and then our finale, which is all the animals together. So here is a little selection, everyone's guide to the string orchestra. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Sibelius was a Finnish composer around the turn of the 20th century mostly, and late 19th century. In the late 19th century, Finland was a part of the Russian Empire, and most of them didn't like it. And so there was enormous movement for independence. And Sibelius, among others, wrote a lot of music, composed a lot of music in favor of Finnish national identity. And Finlandia was a very long piece that he wrote. And in order to get it performed and snuck under the wire of the Russian censorship, they had to call it something else every performance, like Springtime in the Finnish Mountains, or Listen to the Birds Over Here on the Hillside. It was that stuff in order to get the piece passed. But there was a very lovely hymn section in it that we're going to play for you. And in the 1940s, one of Finland's poets wrote a set of lyrics to it that are considered almost the Finnish national anthem, though not really. It's sort of unofficial. And so this is that part of Finlandia. Here we go. Evening is, as promised, an overture. That's the way things are. In 1880, Fyodor Tchaikovsky wrote the 1812 overture to commemorate the Russians' defense against Napoleon's army back in 1812. So I'm very sorry. I wanted everybody to get little poppers that, to the end, and I was going to cue you and everything, and we decided it was too much mess to clean up the room afterwards. So just think about it a bit. Just think pop. Right moment. There we go. There we go. Bud Woodruff is an American educator and composer largely of music for high schools and colleges. And he wrote this great little piece called Barn Dance Saturday Night. And it's a real thigh slapper, and we just wanted you to have some fun to go out on. So here is our Barn Dance Saturday Night.
On a Tuesdays.
Yeah, okay, well, it'll last till Saturday, I think. We'll do. All right, here we go. One and two and late November. We haven't set it yet. We will have more wonderful things in store for all of you, our friends. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Yay!